This is fictional story to bring faith and heart.
The lights dimmed in the studio, casting a long shadow over the round table where 3 chairs waited. The tension in the air felt like it had been aging for decades. Joe Rogan sat in the middle, sipping from his mug, his eyes bouncing between 2 names that had shaped the 21st century. On his left, Donald Trump, former president, unapologetic patriot, a man who had built his legacy on power, pride, and the promise to make America great again. His red tie was bold, his glare was bolder. On his right, Elon Musk, visionary entrepreneur, father of rockets, AI, and electric dreams, calm, measured. His hands rested on his lap, like he was waiting for a question only time would dare to ask. Joe leaned forward. "Let's be real," he said. "This isn't just a conversation. This is a confrontation. Donald, you asked for this sit-down. What's on your mind?" Trump didn't hesitate. "Elon Musk," he said, "is a genius, but he's also a threat, a real threat to America." Joe's eyebrows lifted. Trump continued, voice sharpened like a knife. "You're building machines to replace American workers. You're sending billionaires to Mars while families here are struggling to pay rent. You call it progress. I call it betrayal." The words hit the table like thunder. Elon looked up. He didn't flinch. He didn't smirk. He just blinked slowly, as if measuring something deeper than offense. Joe looked at Elon. "You want to respond?" Elon's voice was quiet, almost too quiet for the microphone. "I'm not trying to replace America," he said. "I'm trying to make sure it survives what's coming." Trump scoffed. "And what's coming, Elon? Your robots? Your Mars? Your elite future where regular folks are left behind?" The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was loaded, with history, with fear, with the collision of 2 worldviews that could no longer ignore each other. Joe looked at both of them, then back at the audience camera. "This might be the most important conversation we've had on this show," he said, "because what's really at stake isn't who wins an argument, but whether we can still agree on what it means to be human." The camera panned slowly across their faces. 3 men, 3 legacies. One question that was about to pull everything apart. And none of them were ready for how far that question would go. Trump leaned forward, his hand flat on the table. The gold cufflinks on his sleeves caught the studio lights like tiny bursts of ego. "Let me tell you something, Elon," he said. "When I go to Ohio, when I go to Michigan, I meet men who've lost everything, jobs, towns, dignity, because of what? Automation, AI. You build these machines, and then you call it evolution." Elon nodded slightly, not in agreement, in acknowledgement. "You're right about the pain," he said. Trump raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" "You're right. People are hurting. Families are being torn apart. And I'm not blind to that. But progress doesn't wait for permission." Joe turned toward Elon, narrowing his eyes. "So you're saying it's necessary collateral?" Elon took a breath. "I'm saying, if we don't evolve, we collapse. That's not theory. That's history." Trump shook his head. "That's exactly the problem with guys like you. You worship the future like it's some kind of god. But America isn't just data and code. It's farms, it's factories, it's tradition." Elon looked at him, not with defiance, but with something gentler, something closer to sadness. "Tradition matters," Elon said. "But so does preparation. There's a storm coming. Climate, economics, population, automation, you name it. And while everyone's arguing about whose fault it is, we're wasting time." Joe spoke softly now, his tone shifting. "And what do we lose along the way?" he asked. "What do we give up in the name of survival?" The silence returned, heavier this time. Trump crossed his arms. "What you call survival, I call surrender." surrendering the heart of this country to machines, to Mars, to elites who want to escape while the rest of us stay behind and sweep up the pieces. Elon didn't look angry, but he did look tired. "I don't want to escape," he said. "I want to extend. I want to give humanity a backup drive before the main one crashes." Joe leaned back. "So you're saying the future is coming whether we like it or not?" Elon nodded. "Yes. The question isn't if, it's who will survive it." Trump pointed across the table. "And I say, not without a soul, we won't." Joe looked between them. "Then maybe the question isn't who wins this debate." He paused, as if the thought had just surfaced from deep inside. "Maybe the question is, are we too late to save what made us human in the first place?" Neither Elon nor Trump had an answer, and for a moment neither dared to speak. The studio air felt heavier now. The audience wasn't clapping. They weren't even shifting in their seats. Everyone was leaning in, even the crew. Not for drama, but because something rare was happening. Two powerful men, each certain of their truth, were facing a question neither could sidestep. Joe Rogan leaned closer to the mic. His voice had lost its bravado. Now it sounded like a man digging through layers of his own thoughts. "Elon," he said, "when you say you're trying to prepare us, who's the us?" Elon tilted his head. "All of us. Even the ones who can't afford a Tesla, the ones working double shifts while your satellites fly over their heads." Elon paused, not from offense, from the weight of the truth in Joe's words. "I've made mistakes," he admitted. "There are gaps, big ones. But the goal isn't to leave people behind. The goal is to pull them forward." Trump leaned in again. "With what? Wires in their brains? Universal income checks to shut them up while machines do their jobs?" Elon turned slowly to face him. "With dignity," he said. "With time. With the chance to be more than gears in a dying engine." Joe blinked. "And what does that look like?" Elon's answer came slowly. Not technical, not calculated, just human. "It looks like a world where people aren't trapped by survival, where they have time to raise their kids, time to create, to wonder, to pray, to care." Trump exhaled, leaning back. "You talk like a poet, Elon. But people need paychecks, not poetry." Joe stepped in. "But isn't that the point? Maybe what we lost isn't just jobs. Maybe we lost what made those jobs matter, the community, the purpose, the pride." Elon nodded. "Exactly." Trump shook his head. "You can't code that into an app." "No," Elon said, "but we can choose to protect it." Joe looked down, almost whispering, "Are we?" The question sat there, glowing like an ember. No one wanted to touch it, but no one could ignore it. Elon broke the silence. "You asked me what I'm trying to save. I'm trying to save space for what makes us human, before it gets erased." Trump looked unconvinced. Joe looked moved. And the world, watching from behind a million screens, held its breath, waiting to see if these two men, so different, might actually be reaching toward the same thing. Something deeper than politics. Something older than power. Something sacred. The air in the studio felt like dusk, not because of the lighting, but because of the mood. Something was closing, and something else was beginning. Trump's eyes narrowed, not out of anger now, but reflection. "You say you want to protect what makes us human," he said slowly. "But you speak in the language of satellites and survival. What about faith? What about values? The kind you don't upload to a server?" Elon looked at him. For the first time, he didn't answer immediately. "I think about that a lot," he said quietly. "About what we're losing that can't be rebuilt with tech." Joe leaned in. "Like what?" Elon looked at the floor for a second, then up. My son asked me the other day, why do adults talk about the future like it's a place we have to escape to? Elon's voice cracked slightly. He said, can't we just fix the world we're in now? The room went still. Trump tilted his head. Smart kid. He is, Elon nodded. And he reminded me that even the most advanced systems we build can't teach a child how to love, or forgive, or believe. Joe shifted in his seat. Do you believe in God? Elon took a deep breath. I believe there's something bigger than all of us. Something we're meant to serve, not control. I don't pretend to have the answers, but I do believe we're more than just atoms and algorithms. Trump surprised everyone. He didn't argue. Instead, he reached into his coat and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Worn edges, a child's drawing, crude but powerful. A family holding hands under a flag with a small wooden cross beside them. My granddaughter drew this, he said. Gave it to me after I lost the election. Said, Papa, you still win if you still love people. His voice wavered. And that's the part I think we're forgetting. Joe looked between the two men, once locked in fire, now softened by memory and meaning. Maybe that's the question, he said. Not whether we can survive the future, but whether we can carry our soul into it. Elon nodded. Trump nodded. For once, they weren't debating. They were remembering what the heart knows, what time forgets, what no machine can ever replace. Joe glanced at the control booth. No one dared signal for a break. The cameras kept rolling. But this wasn't about a show anymore. This was about something sacred unfolding in real time. A collision not of opinions, but of identities. Trump spoke first. His voice was quieter now. Honest, not performative. You know, Elon, when I was younger, my father built everything with his hands, brick by brick. He believed in hard work, in loyalty, in putting your name on something and making it last. He paused. And now I see a world where names vanish into code, where loyalty is to speed, not to people. I don't hate technology. I hate watching what it's doing to our roots. Elon's eyes softened. I understand that. I've lost sleep over it, truly. Joe asked, then why keep pushing? Elon looked straight at him. Because the train doesn't stop, Joe. If I don't push, someone else will. Someone without restraint, without empathy, without any memory of what came before. Trump looked skeptical. And we're just supposed to trust that you're the right one to lead it? No, Elon said. You're not. That's why I'm here. Not to win, but to warn. Joe leaned in. Warn us of what? Elon paused. That we are standing on a cliff, one foot in the soil of our ancestors, the other in the circuitry of our inventions, and most people are walking forward with their eyes closed. The image hung in the air. Trump folded his hands. You think we need both feet in the future? No, Elon said. I think we need one firmly in what matters, our families, our values, our creator, and one willing to step into what's next, with care. Joe tapped his fingers on the table. Sounds a lot like walking a tightrope. It is, Elon said, and we're all on it, together. The only question is, do we hold each other's hands, or do we fall alone? Trump didn't argue. He didn't insult. Instead, he looked over at Joe and said something no one expected. Maybe I was wrong. Joe blinked. About what? Trump's voice was heavy with truth. About thinking love and progress can't share the same table. Joe looked at Elon. Elon didn't smile. He just whispered, it's not too late. But they all knew. The next words could determine if that was true. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet. It was sacred. 3 men, No script, no campaign, no ego. Just a shared breath between worlds trying to meet in the middle. Joe finally broke the silence. "Do you think we'll ever get back to what we were?" he asked. "Before the machines, before the noise, before everything got so fast?" Trump looked down, rubbing the edge of his granddaughter's drawing. "I don't think we go back," he said. "But maybe we remember." Elon leaned in. "We don't need to return to the past. We need to bring the best of it with us." Joe's eyes welled up slightly. "And what is that? What's worth carrying into the future?" Neither Trump nor Elon answered right away. Instead, Elon spoke slowly, as if delivering something fragile. "Kindness," he said. "Time. The courage to raise children who ask better questions than we ever did." Trump followed. "Honor, sacrifice, faith in something bigger than yourself." Joe nodded. "And maybe the humility to admit we were never meant to run this race alone." The studio lights felt warmer now, like the cold fire of argument had melted into something else, something more human. Joe looked into the camera. Millions were watching. But this moment didn't feel like it was for them. It felt like it was for all of us. "For everyone watching," he said, "maybe this debate wasn't about AI, or Mars, or even America." He looked at both men. Maybe it was about this question: who are we becoming? Elon closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them with clarity. "We're becoming whatever we allow." Trump added, "And we'd better choose wisely." Joe nodded, voice steady now. "Because the future isn't just built by engineers. It's shaped by every mother who forgives, every father who stays, every child who still believes we can be good." He paused, looking at the table where it had all started. "And maybe," he said, "just maybe, the real battle isn't between the past and the future. It's between fear and faith." The show ended without a final punchline. No applause, no outro music, just the lingering stillness of something deeply human being felt together. And as the credits rolled, a single question echoed in the hearts of everyone watching. Can we still save what made us human?